Thanks for taking the time out of your schedule tonight to join in the virtual parent orientation. In the past, they've done them in person. Last year, we chose to do it virtually. And again, it just worked well for people to be able to just be at home and not have to worry about childcare and all of those things. So again, if you need to not have your face show on the screen and tend to other things, that's fine too. It'll be recorded and put on the website. So this is specific for the full day families. I can't remember who asked, but it was a perfect question to say, should we attend the full day family or the new family, since we're both? So the full day one is specific to all the different things that we have for you. So the drop off and pickup looks different, the napping policy, all of that. So you're exactly where you need to be. I know most of you, if not all of you, attended the Meet the Teacher today. So I checked in with Miss Dawn and Miss Melissa, said things went really well. If there's things that came up for you on your end from today's meeting, let me know. I'll be around tomorrow for the hello days, popping in between both classrooms. Super excited about that. The photo booth will be ready to roll as well. So let me know if there's any other questions. The teachers are very capable of answering almost all of them, but just let me know if there's anything else I can help with. So this is just, again, an introduction to those teachers that are going to be loving on your kids this year. In the full day green room, which we're so excited that we have converted an empty room into this welcoming, warm preschool environment. So hopefully you were able to peek in there if you're not in that room, or just enjoy it while you did the Meet the Teacher today. So Miss Dawn and Miss Erica will be there in the mornings, and then Miss Erica will be helping out in the yellow room for a few hours in the afternoon. And then I will be coming in to help out as well. So the green room is going to be Miss Dawn and Miss Erica. And then the yellow room, we've got 4 fantastic teachers. So Miss Melissa and Miss Jody on the right-hand side are our morning staff. They'll be there from 7:30 to 12:30 or 1 o'clock. And then Miss Allie over on the left will be from noon to 5, Monday through Friday. And so she'll be overlapping with Jody and Melissa. Miss Erica, it's just kind of, you got to follow this. So then Miss Erica will come in from 1 to 3 with Miss Allie. And then I get to finish out the day with your kids. And so I will be in the yellow room 3 to 5, Monday through Thursday. And then on Friday, I'll be there from 12:30 to 5 to end the week with them. So I'm excited to be in a classroom this year and be able to be with your littles. This is our mission statement. And this is just kind of, it's written everywhere, but I just like to go over it, that we're just making sure we're accepting your child where they are at individually as well as developmentally, that our basis for how we learn in our program is through play. So through play, we learn. We have a great video that we made on our website last year that talks specifically about learning through play. We incorporate our Christian faith into our everyday experiences, from the moment that we open the door and greet you and your child, from when we're praying at circle time, to how we're rubbing their back and soothing them at nap time, to the big hugs we give when they leave for the day. Children learn that they are nurtured and loved by God through our program. We've got all these great activities that promote school readiness. And then the big thing is that we partner with you. So you've entrusted us with your kids. We appreciate you getting through this week with us, with the changes that were in place, and staying with us, knowing that how we conduct ourselves in the classroom with your kids is, we take great pride in that. We want you to have a voice in their education, in the sense of celebrating all the accomplishments they have. If they're having difficulties with separation or any behaviors, we want to make sure we're partnering with you with that. And also being aware that we have an open door policy. And so this year, compared to last year, knowing that we're all masking at this time, allows you, if your schedule permits, to come and do some volunteer in the classroom, or volunteer at our Halloween or Valentine's party, or, you know, it could be anything, but it just allows us to have a little bit more flexibility of who's in the building and coming in the classroom. It's so fun to have you come in, especially if we do community helpers as one of our themes, for you to come in and share what it is that you do for profession. not only to have your kid excited for you to be there, but then you get to meet their friends in their environment. So we appreciate the partnership. Our curriculum that we use is called Creative Curriculum. And these are the main topics that we cover. And I just finished up our new family orientation, and it is surprising when we say within 2.5 hours, we hit on all these topics. With your kids during the morning from 8:30 to 11:30 is our heavy curriculum time. And know during those 3 hours, all of these things are being covered. And then the wonderful thing about your kids is just this extended throughout their day as a preschool versus the daycare, that we're continuously hitting on these topics. So gross motor time is so important for your kids that are here for, the 6, 7, 8 hours or more. And so they get to have those touches probably 3 different times, utilizing our courtyard, the gym, the nature path, our playground, all of those things, working on team building and 1 to 2 step directions. But then we're going to be really working on that language and literacy, math, science, creative art, and social studies. It sounds like the big words you'd have in grade school, but again, remember that it's play, and then we learn through play, and it's going to be amazing what these kids learn throughout this year that they're with us. Not that you need to memorize this tiny little wording of the daily schedule, but you could do a screenshot, or again, know that it's going to be uploaded, so then you have that to reference. I know that Dawn and Melissa had some schedules maybe printed out and handed to you. I'm not quite sure. But the gist of it is between 7:30 and 8:15, we have arrivals, right? You're going to be staggering coming in at various times. Breakfast is served between that 7:30 and 8:15 regardless. And so I know one of the questions today you were asked is, would your child be participating in breakfast? So we could gauge for shopping, as well as just making sure we have what's set up for them when they come. And then it's free play. 8:15 to 8:30 is going to be kind of that transitional time of cleaning up, bathroom breaks, getting ready for the day. So by 8:30, we really would love your child to be there so they can start the day with all their other classmates at circle time. Circle time is such a great time, and I'll get into that maybe in one of our other slides, to just talk about what happens at circle time. You're introducing the weekly theme. We're doing our songs, our prayer, our hello song, all of those things to kind of set the stage for the day. So we really ask by 8:30 that they're there and settled in. So from 8:50 to 11:30 after stations, after circle time, we have our tabletop stations that are going to be hitting on those curriculum areas. We do feed your kid multiple times that they're with us. There's breakfast, there's snack, there's lunch, and there's snack again. So they're well fed like every 2.5 hours. We also do second circle and our outside time all built in there. They may not be in that exact order, just know within those 3 hours, those things will be hit upon. The other things we're working on is specifically for your full day classes are some enrichment electives that will just be offered for your kids in full day. So we're working on getting music garden in, and we're just trying to solidify her schedule. Her name is Colleen Rose. She'll be coming in and doing a half-hour music time. Now, for some of you that are in the green room, they may not be coming every day. So music may be offered just on Monday, depending on Colleen's schedule. Just know that we'll work on then getting other things on different days to make sure all the kids have some fun things to look forward to. We're working on a science program too that might run 6 sessions. So that's something. And we're also working on some specific programming with McKenna, which is our intergenerational neighbors. So then that way, I shouldn't say they're intergenerational, with our grandmas and grandpas to do intergenerational programming. So we're working on if there's specific story time, shared reading time with them, or a shared art time. So there's a lot of fun things that we're doing specifically for our full day kids to break up their week, as well as giving them that enrichment time. Oops, this is not the case. I had it all updated. We also, lunch, we've asked that you bring that cold nut-free lunch with the kids every day. And then they go into afternoons. We do some books and puzzles, quiet time transition, a nap and rest time. I think I've touched on, and probably the teachers did too, that licensing says that we need to have your child rest their mind and body for at least 30 minutes. So that's what it says there. We'll start that transition, hopefully by 1 o'clock for sure. We'll start that transition. They'll be on their cots for that quiet time. And after that 30 minutes, if they don't want to stay on their cot, they don't have to. And that's when we'll transition then into some other quiet lesson enrichment type programming. The afternoon then is, again, we'll build on the theme for that day. We'll do some STEAM activities. We'll get some more outside time. And then at the end, we will finish our day upstairs. It should say 4 o'clock. Sorry about that. I thought I had proofed all this. It should say about 4 o'clock that we will be back upstairs, because we want to make sure that we're up there and transitioning to the end of the day before you come for dismissal. That's the gist of the daily schedule. The masking policy that just got put into place this week, hopefully all of you got an email with the letter that Pastor Dan wrote regarding some of the specific questions that were brought up from families this week, and addressed those. So the mask that will be worn inside regardless of vaccination status. So if you're also coming into the building and the teachers will be having masks or shields, just know that that's the policy that's in place right now for the whole building. They do not need to be wearing masks outside. So we're going to do our best to get this full day group outside even more than in the gym, because that way they can take off those masks. So again, we've got the courtyard, we've got the bridge, we've got the gazebo, we've got the nature path, we've got the playground, and we can, in the tree stump area. So we can bring a lot of our lessons and be creative in our curriculum planning as we look to do some more outside with this group of kids. There's some information about maybe selecting some different masks for your kids. I would just ask that you're gracious with the modeling for them, maybe picking out 2 or 3 masks that are specific for school for them, and making it exciting that they get to pick up maybe a new Paw Patrol mask or something that they can wear. We do ask that you provide maybe 2 or 3 masks for school, just in case one gets a little icky, we can switch it out, just like we ask that you have changes of clothes for them. So that might be something to think ahead about for this group as well. We're going to make sure that we are all washing our hands again. One of the questions, I think someone brought it up today, is kind of where are we putting these masks, especially at meal times. So in the green room, we might have the hooks right outside the door that they can put their masks on, or we can find something that we're going to do for mailboxes for them. In the yellow room, there is a giant area that we bought for mail slots, and it's in the room that they eat in. So the children will be able to take off their masks, slide it into that mail slot, wash their hands, and be able to have their meal times. And we'll do some spreading out of kids for meal times a little bit more too. During nap time, masks do not and cannot be worn. So on their individual cots, they have these little cutouts on all 4 corners. They're going to be able to put their mask right in there, just like if they're wearing eyeglasses or anything else that need to be tucked in individually. So they'll be there on their cots for when they wake up. The other things that we talked about, I just lost it. Maybe it comes back to me, but the other idea too is we have so much room in the church that we have some extra tables and space that maybe every once in a while the kids will be able to go with myself or Erica in the green room in the morning for an extra person and do some small sided activities, maybe 4 or 5 kids at a time that we can space, so then they can have mask breaks as well. We know it's not comfortable. We know that they have a hard time wearing them. We as adults do too, right? So we're going to just be graciously and gently reminding them throughout the day to keep them on. It's not going to take away from our programming. We're going to be forgiving with all of that time. We're going to do our best with what we're given and go from there. One of the things I did put on here is I just kind of Googled some of the top mask recommendations for kids. So again, this might be a great screenshot or reference afterwards, but these were some of the specific ones that were reviewed and got great reviews for fitting the kid's face, especially their little ears, and staying where they need to stay. So take a look at that. Okay, so school dress. We dress for play, we dress for getting dirty. We teachers do that too. So I don't know if you'd want to send them in their Sunday best. That's kind of our Christmas program and graduation, but dress for play. Closed-toed shoes, tennis shoes work the best, but Crocs can also work as long as they fit well and the straps are behind their heels. The biggest thing I didn't include on here is that they do need to wear socks. So regardless if they have a closed-toe sandal or a Croc, they do need to have socks in them. We do ask that you label all outdoor clothing, boots, school bag, all of the things, just because sometimes they don't know that that's their sweatshirt when we take them off on the playground, or they may have a Paw Patrol or a unicorn backpack and someone has the exact same one. Just making it easier for all of us, just label, label, label. We just ask for a little bit larger size backpack because it's nice to be able to put all their treasures that they've done during school in there so they don't get, too wrinkled or ruined. So something that fits them really well, but something that's going to fit all their, like I said, treasures that come home from school. And then we do ask for 1 or 2 changes of clothing in their backpack, preferably a Ziploc bag or a reusable bag that can have wet clothes put back into them. So having a shirt, some kind of a bottom, shorts or leggings or pants, sweatpants, their undies and socks. Sometimes in those potty accidents, they go all the way down to the socks. We want to make sure we change all that, as well as even if they're at the science table and we had mud one time or water and that gets dirty or they don't like that feeling, we want to be able to change clothes for them. We also have extra clothes in the bathrooms. So if we run out of what you've sent, just know that they'll be able to be changed. Children's arrival will be similar. Well, it would be pretty much what we did last year minus the temperature checks. And so for those new families, maybe they pointed that out to you today too during Meet the Teacher, and we can show you that tomorrow at Hello Day. There is the door that comes into the yellow room, into where they nap and eat on the side nearest the front door by my office. That's going to be where all kids, regardless of which room they're in, will come in as you arrive in the morning. We'll be able to greet you upon arrival at the door. And then that way we're going to be able to just do a quick little screening, how they're feeling, anything that we need to know about their morning so far, or maybe they need to be picked up early or grandma's picking up that day, whatever it is. We'll go ahead and sign the kids in upon arrival. And as soon as they enter in, they're going to wash their hands, unpack their things for the day. Their lunchbox will be put on a cart. They'll get the backpack put away and they can start playing. If your child is experiencing any separation issues, talk to your teacher specifically. We've got a lot of tricks that we can help with that transition, and know that sometimes those tears are just part of it. And we are ready to do some extra cuddles in the morning, help with redirection and get them going on the right path for that morning. So dismissal will work the same for that door that your children will come out of to greet you for dismissal. We'll make sure that they're clean before they come back to you. We typically want to wash our hands. They're going to gather their coats and backpacks. We'll have them all staged in one area upon dismissal. We'll use the seesaw messages upon your arrival. We'll watch for you, whatever the teachers have kind of told you to do for when you're ready to pick up. Last year, it got super cute. There was a stool that the kids would use to stand and look out some of the windows, and they got to know whose parents' cars were coming. So it might be like, hey, Hank, your mom's coming, because he could see the van coming or whatever it is. So they were really great about letting the kids know so-and-so is there to pick them up. So I'm sure that will happen again. The teachers will again sign out the children upon dismissal. No child will be released to an unknown person without prior written authorization or a photo ID. So when you filled out registration forms, you talked about authorized people to pick up and drop off. So just know that Grandma Shirley, if she comes, we don't know Grandma Shirley the first time. So she's going to need to show us a photo ID and know that she gets paired up with so-and-so, so then we can know going forward. If you're going to be late or early or any of those things, the best way to do is communicate through Seesaw with the teachers. Maybe they said differently, but I always think Seesaw is great. We get those notifications right away versus the phone call in the classroom or the email. That way we can have your kids ready for you. So speaking of that, if your child is absent for any reason, you can certainly call the office or email me, but then you can certainly do the Seesaw, as well as call the classrooms if need be. Again, my whole thing is Seesaw is the best form of communication in a timely fashion. School cancellations. So we closely follow the Prior Lake School District calendar for opening and closing for holidays, but especially weather. So if the Prior Lake School District closes due to bad weather, then we will close as well. School calendar and cancellation then as well. So that was pretty repetitive. Sorry about that. This one does say, though, on our website under handbook and forms, you will find this year's school calendar posted. That would be just a great resource to be able to print that off or have that hanging in a cupboard or on your refrigerator, just as a reference of the days that we are in session. The full day is in session more than our half day, and it goes longer into June. So just note that there's a color code to follow on that calendar. And then hopefully, before I get into this, hopefully you have received the newsletter, the monthly calendar, and the snack and breakfast calendar as well. So every month that will be sent out to you prior to that month. Parent-teacher conferences, we do 2 a year. One happens in the fall, one in the spring. And that's a great time just to connect with you. Again, that partnership, talk about how your child is adjusting in the fall, and in the spring, what's been accomplished, and kind of looking at what they did in the fall. Maybe they wrote their name day 1 and now they're writing it again in March, and you get to see that progression, or their self-portraits. It's just fun to look at how much they are learning. And then note that a parent, caregiver, or a teacher may request a conference at any time throughout the year. Don't feel like you need to wait for a conference time. If there are any concerns or things you want to celebrate, we can do that outside of those conference times. We have a beautiful partnership with McKenna Crossing, which is that our grandmas and grandpas, we call them, that has the independent assisted and memory care units over at McKenna Crossing. So we were able to do some partnerships with them in the past. This last year, because of COVID, we did a lot of art projects and different things we sent to decorate for them over there. But this summer, during our summer camp, we were able to do a lot of programming in person once a week. So we do have things planned from September to December so far. Most of it is outside or in our upper path near the back of our church before we get to McKenna. Lots of space there that we get to spread out. So I'm super excited because it's super joyful for both the little ones and the grandmas and grandpas to have that time. So we have a nature scavenger hunt and leaf art scheduled. We'll have our Halloween parade with them. We're also working on some specific partnerships for the full day. So we're hoping maybe every Tuesday from 10 to 10:30 will be reading buddies. So maybe one of grandma and grandpa's can take a group of 4 or 5 kids and have some books and just read and visit with them. So again, working on these different things, but just know that partnership, we will continue to build on this year in hopes that we can do that all year long with them. Field trips, we do have some field trips for sure on site this year, and we're working on a farm field trip next spring, and then a couple other we can fill in as the year goes on. We have Three Rivers District naturalists from Richardson Nature Center coming to us in October to use our campus and do some fun programming with us. We did that last year because we couldn't go there, and it worked out so well. We're going to have them come back. We have a magician that was with us last year, and again, he was wonderful. So we have him coming back at a later time in the year to couple with our Spirit Week. We have science shows with High Touch, High Tech in March. And then this new one, Peace Bunny Island, I don't know if anyone's heard of it. I suggest you look it up because it's pretty cool. Literally an island of bunnies that are being trained to be comfort animals. And so they come over to McKenna, and we'll be able to do some times with them, but they also do a STEM program for preschoolers. So we're going to work with them to get something scheduled this year to support that organization. Tuition, this is a little small, but the gist of it is tuition is due at the 1st of the month. And if it's not paid by the 10th of the month, there's a $20 late fee. So this month is a little bit different because yesterday was the 1st of the month. So we do have some wiggle room this month that fee will not be applied. So just so we can kind of get into the rhythm of everything. So just know that, yes, going forward is the 1st to the 10th, you've got time to pay. We do ask for 1 month paid notice for withdrawal of your child from the program. If we need to close for any reason, if it's a COVID case, but it might be a water pipe burst, it might be a gas leak, whatever it is, if we initiate that closing and it happens to fall on the days that your child is with us, we will refund you for those days. We'll just work with the finance associate and we'll do a prorate for the days that we had to close. There's 3 different ways to pay. You can certainly write a check payable to Shepherd of the Lake Lutheran Church and hand it off to your teachers or myself. You can go online to preschool tuition on our website and set up auto pay, or you can just go in and manually do it each month. Or the teachers or myself are able to take square payments. They're all set up with the iPad. So if you have your credit card and want to pay when you drop off one day, they'll be able to do that and we can send you a receipt electronically. This is the tuition rates this year. It includes breakfast and then 2 snacks, which might be a little bit misleading because you do help us pay for snack with that annual, I think that's my next slide, with the annual fee that we ask. So the $100 at the annual fee due in September here is to pay for all the snacks all year long, pays for any of the field trips that we have on or off site, and then a school t-shirt. The breakfast and lunch policy specific to the full day. So the breakfast, like I alluded to earlier, will be between the hours of 7:30 and 8:15, Monday through Friday. And then the lunch, again, we are a nut-free, peanut-free facility. So we ask that you make sure that it's nut-free, peanut-free. I know some of the questions we've had before is what about peanut butter? And I was a kid, honestly, that would have peanut butter and butter sandwiches all 5 days at school. So there is something called sun butter that is a great substitute that is safe for you to have. So again, cold nut-free lunch, we want to make sure that your lunch containers are labeled with your child's first and last name. They'll be put on a cart when they arrive and wheeled into our walk-in fridge so they're kept cold until that lunch hour. And then if your child has a lunch box that doesn't have a container that comes out, they'll be offered a plate to put all their food items on or just kept in the lunch container. It needs to be ready to serve. We don't have the luxury of having a microwave to heat up their mac and cheese or soups or anything like that, just so ready to serve. And they'll be able to have a choice of milk or water with their lunch. That will be provided. Okay, I don't expect anyone to see all of this. So again, this is going to be the gist of it for nap policy. So talked about that during the time that they're with us, they do need to take a rest. And so they will have their cots, and those cots will be labeled with their name, and it will be disinfected after each nap rest time. After those 30 minutes, if they do not want to remain on their cot, they do not have to, and they'll engage in some quiet activities. You are to provide the bedding for your kids. So what they've done in the past, it could even be a small travel size pillow, a blanket, and maybe a lovey. We don't want like 5 or 6 loveys happening, but just something that's important to them that will provide them comfort during that time. That will be stored within individual cubbies, or for one room, it will be hung out in the hallway. And so those will just come back and forth just for resting time, and then back in those specific cubbies or hooks designated for the resting items. If they get soiled or wet during the week, we'll bag those up to be sent home. Otherwise, regardless, at the end of each week, we do send them home. We ask them to be laundered and returned then the next week. Again, they'll be disinfected each time. The cots truly cannot be put 6 feet apart with our spacing. So what licensing has said is if they can't be 6 feet apart, they need to be able to have an aisle that we as teachers can walk through, or if there was a fire that they'd be able to come out safely. But they will have their heads and toes placed, and so no 2 faces will be too close because of all this COVID stuff as well. So just know that we're working on placement safely. And they do need to sleep with their footwear on to ensure emergency evacuations are safe. Parent communication, like I said, you should have already gotten your first month newsletter and monthly calendar, as well as snack and breakfast calendar. That will be sent out every month. I just sent it this month through email, but going forward, it will be sent both through email as well as Seesaw, so you have it kind of everywhere. Facebook, if you haven't joined our Facebook group, I'd suggest just getting on there, see what that's all about. It's a great way just to support us and let others in your Facebook network know about us. The Seesaw app, hopefully, again, you're all hooked up with that. And that is where you're going to get your daily communication and pictures from the teachers. It's great to be able to see them in action out in the sandbox or building with the blocks or painting a picture. And the teachers do a great job of just going around real quickly and making sure they kind of get everybody and then be able to send those during their non-teaching times. Usually it's kind of that rest time. We try to catch up on that. Every Sunday, you'll get a peek of the week from me. And so that will just be literally a recap of what's coming for that week. Might be announcements, but it might also be fun things that are happening in our community to make you aware of. There's volunteer opportunities. Again, this is a great partnership. There's something called Parent Advisory Committee or the PAC Committee. And that is one of the questions on the volunteer, I shouldn't say volunteer, the parent orientation survey link that I sent. And so that meets 3 to 4 times a year for about an hour at a time. And you just help me with how do we continue to make our program strong and meeting the needs of your kids. And so it's kind of a check and balance group, but it's also time to talk about fundraising options, those community outreach projects we want to do, planning holiday parties. It could be helping with Teacher Appreciation Week, providing meals for the teachers at conferences and so forth. So it's a preschool PTA. We also have a prayer team. And then we have other volunteer opportunities, again, in the classroom you can help with. It might be maintenance of the playground, a little bit of everything. And again, we can re-envision what that looks like this year as we go forward. Health and safety guidelines. So with everything still going on in the world, we just would like for you to err on the side of caution this year. I almost said coffin. That would not have been good. Err on the side of caution. So what I always like to say too is if the child is not able to get through the day in the way that they traditionally do and enjoy their learning to its fullest, they're getting sleepy, their eyes are runny, their nose is gunky, all of those things, I would just say figure out something for them to be able to stay home because it will interfere with their learning. And then obviously anything with fevers and diarrhea and vomiting, all of those things are in the parent handbook that you'll be getting next week. Once they're all printed off, we'll get those to you the first couple of days that they're there. It will also be uploaded to our website, but it has all the guidelines for exclusions for health and safety and when to keep them home. Parking lot safety, especially for this group. So because you're going to be dropping off and picking up at various times, I know it's convenient to pull curbside to run up and grab the kid or drop them off. I do really would encourage you to find a parking spot and park in that parking spot and turn off the car and come in. You may have another child in there. You'll never come into the building, so you'll be able to have a visual if you have other kids in the car, but I really encourage you to find a parking spot to safely park. Sometimes in the evenings, there's a dance group that comes or a cheer group, and I just want to keep everything safe. Fire drills and tornado drills. Fire drills will be happening every month. We'll do some practicing. They don't truly sound. We make the sounds, but we do practice at various locations in the building and what do we do safely. Tornado drills will happen September, April, May, and June. We have to do that for licensing. Site relocation will be also noted in the parent handbook, but we do have a site just west of the campus across McKenna Street, and it's called the Links, and that is where we would go in case of something happening within the building that we need to evacuate. That's where we would go, but that policy and everything is written in the handbook as well. If you do need to come into the building for anything, if it's helping in the classroom, if it's the parties, whatever, the preschool door is locked during preschool hours, and that code is 2122 to match up to the year of the school year that we'll be in. So it's 2122 pound. That will get you in, and then the doors to the hallways to, we call it the full day suite. There'll be double doors and a side door. Those will remain locked all during the time that the children are there. So we have 2 points of security for them. And those doors you would need to call ahead to a teacher or Seesaw message to say that you're there for us to let you in. Behavioral guidance, we're always talking positive reinforcement, modeling those things and redirecting your child as our first step in helping with behaviors. We don't do timeouts, we have breaks. We need breaks to self-regulate. So we talk about and model that. We have calming spaces in the classroom, typically by our bean bags or chairs or books. We have manipulatives they can use to help them calm down. We've got a little plastic egg that changes colors. We've got sand, oh my gosh, what are they called when you flip them over? Hourglass. And then we've got water play, different things like that to help them calm and then redirect. If there is a time that we have some persistent unacceptable behaviors, that's when we for sure partner with you and set up a time that we can brainstorm and talk about some different ideas that we can implement for your child to get them through the day successfully and go from there. We do have some special days. I mean, all the days are special, but these are even more special. Once a week, I should say this differently. Every child for 1 week a year will be able to take Precious home. And Precious is a stuffed lamb that's darling. And in this backpack, the lamb would be in there, a book, and then a 3-ring binder that you then get to chronicle your time with Precious. So it might be Precious eating pancakes with you or watching a movie or going on a bike ride or whatever it would be. So every child gets a full week with Precious to chronicle, and then they come back to the class after that week and share with us what took place. Speaking of sharing, so the sharing bag goes home maybe once, twice, 3 times a year. They can bring something from home, anything from a toy to a picture to a pet rock, anything that they want to share with the students, and it helps them start doing some storytelling and sharing in front of a group. And that's a really fun time for them. Birthdays, no matter if it's a full or a half birthday, it gets celebrated because that's so special and important for these kids to have that day. So there's a birthday bag that goes home with a book that comes back with a birthday bag, but they get a crown certificate. We celebrate them. We don't want baked goods to be brought in for birthday celebrations, but sometimes novelties are brought in, maybe like small bubbles, pencils, something like that. If it is food related, we ask that again, it's nut free and it can go home with the child at the end of the day. And last year we started this and it was super fun. And so we're going to do it again. There's going to be a movie night, and every one of our classes gets a month that's designated for them. And so your 2 classes, it's already been scheduled, so you'll see that coming up this year. They come on a Saturday from 6 to 8. I'm usually the one that's there. They have a $5 admittance. They get a couple snacks and popcorn and juice and things like that. And then we watch a movie and we do some silly songs and play for a little bit. And they can come in their jammies, bring their loveys, sleeping bag, whatever. And the kids just had a ball, as did I. So that's coming up this year as well. We do have Scholastic book orders that go out once a month. That's another area that you could volunteer with, just to put those book orders together. And then we do have an Usborne book fair in the fall and a Scholastic book fair in the spring to coincide with the conferences. Last year they were virtual online, but this year we're hoping to have those in person. Fundraising, the book orders and book fairs help us. And then we did something called Cards for a Cause last year, and we're going to try that again this year. We raised enough funds, over $6,000, to be able to do a sunshade for our playground and some chalkboards. This year, our goal is to get a second sunshade. So we're going to for sure do the Cards for a Cause, but we're open to other fundraising. We don't want to do too much. It was great to just do one big one for a couple of weeks and have it wildly successful. So that's our hope again. Devani's has been done in the past. We didn't do it last year, but again, if you're part of that PAC committee, these are things that we can talk about and plan on behalf of the school. So we do some November food drive and a December giving tree for sure. We have a dental hygienist coming in to do some programming with us later in the year. But if there are certain things that you would like us to do or have ideas about community outreach, pass those along to myself or be part of that PAC committee. And we can work on having some more presence within our community. Okay, then the other thing is, I sent it out at one other time, again, screenshot or find this, but making sure that you have completed that orientation checklist for me. It not only has things that you could volunteer, or areas you could volunteer for, but it's also going to ask about hand sanitizer permission. I don't even remember what else is on there right now, but that's a big one because I want to make sure that we, when soap and water are not readily available, we can use our hand sanitizer. One of the questions we've gotten from families is what kind? And we had a mother do some research last year for us, and she found a great one, and I've put it in the handbook. It's plant-based, it's vegan, it's so gentle. It's almost like a vegetable oil when we put it with the kids' skin. None of us broke out. None of us got dry hands. There were no kids that had any reactions to it. So we're going to continue to use that one. We only use it again if we're coming in from outside. We'll do a little squirt maybe at the end of the day, whatever it is, when we don't really have the bathrooms to wash and scrub. So make sure you take some time to complete that. It shouldn't take more than 5 minutes or so to complete that. Okay, a lot of information coming at you, but now it's 7:10, and I just want to open it up to some questions if you have some.
Hey, Anne, I have a couple of questions.
Yes.
About 2 here. So my first one is, so the Seesaw. I have my Seesaw family thing downloaded now, but it still asks to see like Amelie's journal. Like I feel like I need a QR code still.
So there's nothing that's going to be put into her journal. There'll never be a time that there's going to be that student information. I can double check. So I have another teacher, Miss Jessie, is my techie Seesaw person.
Okay.
So if there's something specific about Seesaw, send it in an email to me and I forward it to her. But have you gotten some messages from the teachers though? Have you gotten some of those announcements?
Yeah, I've gotten the welcome, but there's not like a place for me. Like if I wanted to send a message to the teachers, I just have the little message button, but it would be where everyone would see it.
Correct. And so what's going to have to wait is that, and we can do it tomorrow while everyone's there for Hello Day. The teachers, and I do know this answer, so the teachers have to send an individual message to you regarding Amelie. And then from there on, you would be able to send them a message without the whole class seeing it.
Okay, so they have to initiate it and then I can.
We do. So the teachers have to initiate that first one. And so maybe I'll make a note of that we should just do that tomorrow real quick, that after Hello Day, maybe they can just take some pictures, but then they can initiate just a very individualized message to all of you. So then you can start responding individually.
Okay.
Good question. Okay.
And then you said it won't be like Amelie's specific journal. It's kind of just the whole class Seesaw.
So they do both. There might be some times that they're out on the playground and they just take some random pictures and it's just easier to send to the class. Most of them will do individual posts to you, that it will be Amelie maybe at that point doing, making her homemade pizza for snack or whatever it would be, and it will go directly to you. Sometimes it will just be general message for everybody with individual pictures to you.
Okay. And then my second question was, you kept talking about the parent handbook. Is that just something that is online, or do we have, we don't have that, right?
You don't have it yet. So it's being printed. And so you'll have it next week. It will be handed out, I'm hoping, by Tuesday. Okay. We're waiting this week to honestly add this masking policy. And so that was the holdup. Otherwise, it was all ready to go weeks ago. So we had to just backtrack a little bit. It should be uploaded to the website today or tomorrow, and the physical copy will be sent home next week with you.
Okay, perfect. Those were my only questions. Thank you.
Perfect, thanks.
Oh wait, I did have one more question.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I saw in the presentation it said to send a Seesaw when we arrive. So every morning when we arrive, we do send a Seesaw message. So
that was me for last year and for this year. But again, I'm going to double check with what the teachers want. I'm not there in the morning or in the classroom, so I want to double check with them of what they want that policy to look like.
Okay.
Can then address that tomorrow too. That's a great question.
Then that's it.
Because usually there's going to be the 4 teachers in the morning.
Yeah.
And so one of them last year got to the point where they were just watching. And then it's pretty obvious when someone comes to the door because the other kids, 1 or 2 of them are in that room serving breakfast. So it was pretty easy, or just a little tap on the door and then you're there. So I bet you they'll say no Seesaw messaging.
Okay.
But I'll double check.
Anne.
Hi, Becky.
Hi. Was that the acknowledging the orientation? Was that when I signed Marty up way back, or was that in an email to accept that? The slide above where you had to
Got you.
accept
This is a
the-
different form.
Okay.
So this one is almost like a little questionnaire to just check off some things.
Okay. And was that in an email? I think I must have missed that one.
It was and I can resend it. That's an easy resend.
Okay.
Remember what it was paired up with? I feel like it was paired up with when I was announcing parent orientation date and time. But
Okay.
that's an easy thing. I can just resend out when we're done.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Well, if there's not, I'm going to go ahead. This will be converted to the recording. Know that I will be around tomorrow morning for Hello Days. It's a really fun day. There might be some jitters, but it's great that you're still with them tomorrow. That's why we do it. Exploring their room, finding literally, I think one of the spots on the checkoff list for the scavenger hunt is find a box of Kleenex. So it's a great chance just to be in the room exploring with them, meet some of their classmates. So then next week when they start, hopefully it will seem and feel a little less scary for them. Okay, if there's nothing else, have a great evening. We'll see you tomorrow. And if there's anything else that comes up after we disconnect, ask tomorrow or go ahead and just send me an email. I do appreciate your time and I look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow. Have a good night.